Hi, my name's Sean Beasley, and I'd like to address setting up queues in OTRS. When you go to Admin within OTRS, after you've installed your OTRS, and then you go down to queues, you will see that there are 4 default queues that are pre-installed. Queues are one of those things that you cannot delete, but you can rename. So I would recommend taking these 4 queues and renaming them into something more appropriate. A lot of companies today will use Postmaster, for example, as their SPOC queue, or single point of contact, where all of the emails will come in to their system and then from this point out be distributed to the rest of the users within your organization. So we'll go ahead and choose this name as SPOC so that we can reuse this queue, assign it the group users so that everybody can see this queue, and we'll give it an unlock timeout of 0, which means that the tickets won't be unlocked. Here you might start considering using the escalation times from OTRS. Escalation times work in the following way. First response time is the time that it takes for a living human being to respond to your user or to your customer. This means that the system internal notes like auto replies do not count. Also, internal notifications do not count. It has to be a note or an email of type external in order to fulfill this time. So we'll go ahead and set 15 minutes here. We want to respond to our customers within 15 minutes of the time that their ticket has been created. The update time is something that's a reoccurring time within the system, which means that as the ticket continues to age, this time must always be met in order to keep the ticket from escalating. So what we want to do here is we want to set an appropriate time for giving our customer an update to his solution. I feel that in this case, an appropriate update time within this queue would be 24:40 or 28:80, meaning 2 days. So every 2 days, if we have not had a direct question from the customer, or we have not provided them information about the status of their setup, then we will be reminded from the system that we should send them an update about their request. The solution time, or going back to the update time, this update time can be silenced in the fashion that it won't send any emails to your agents if you put the ticket on pending. What happens then if you have a ticket that's 3 weeks old and nobody has replied to it in that time and the customer sends a follow-up? Then the ticket will automatically be reopened and it will start sending escalations. So the escalation time isn't really suspended in this aspect, but no mails will be sent until the customer has responded, and then automatically emails will start being sent because this ticket will be escalated, and with quite a long escalation time, it be quite a long period of time that the ticket has been escalated. So that's something to think about there. When we get to the escalation for solution time, this is the amount of time in that which I would like to have provided our customer with a solution. So for tickets in this queue, I would like to have provided our customer with a solution within, let's say, 3 days. So here we have, we'll change this back to 1440. I want to update him every 24 hours, but I want to offer him a solution within 3 days, so that would be a time of 4320. Now, the initial escalation time and the solution time, these are two things that cannot be silenced. The escalation mails will be sent and the ticket will escalate after 15 minutes, and you'll get a mail every 24 hours about this escalation until the time that this solution has been provided or this response has been met. And the same thing happens for the solution time. So when I go down to the next queue setting, I have the follow-up options. What I have here is new ticket, which means if a customer follows up to a ticket that has been closed, this will generate a new ticket and the customer will receive an auto reply if configured. with the selection possible. Tickets can be created, or follow-ups can be created on tickets that have been closed. That means the ticket will be reopened, and depending on the configuration, relocked to the original owner, and the response will be added to the ticket as another article. And here is just blatantly rejecting the email. So if configured, they will receive a reject email saying that your follow-up has been rejected because your ticket is closed. Please open up a new request. So depending upon your policies, you may want to set a different setting here. The default is possible, as we saw. Ticket lock after follow-up. This was the setting I was talking about. If I want the ticket to be relocked to the old owner, the default is here, yes. System address. If you don't see your system address, then we haven't set this up. Here I haven't set this up in this system. We can go ahead and set that up later, because generally in the beginning you only have one system address, and so what's going to happen is when I go and I change this system address, it's going to automatically use the same ID here, and so I won't have to come back here and change anything later. The system salutation, we can go change this later as well. If we haven't created our own salutation, we can choose from a row of salutations that we would want to use for this queue. The same thing is for the signature. We have a default signature that's delivered with the product, and we can now modify this default signature, or if we have just created our own signatures, we can go back and change this one as well. There's basically 10 calendars that are offered for each installation. The basic one here, when I don't select a calendar at all, I'll be using the settings from Core Time. If I've created other calendars, calendars are settings that you can use to control things like holidays and working hours. If you have people working in different time zones, for example, or people working with different holidays, or if you just want to control the service window for your customer and give him other working hours, even though your company may be open 24 hours a day, you only want to service this customer for 6 hours a day, then you would use your calendars here in this fashion to control the escalation times. The validity of this queue, we're changing it, so we wanted to leave it valid, and then we're going to make a comment so that our admins, when they look in the queue settings, they'll know what this queue is for. And we're going to call this the first point of entry for all tickets. So then we can click submit, and we have now changed our first queue, or created our first queue in OTRS. The same procedure or the same screen is available to you when you click add queue if you want to add a new queue to your system. But as I said, I would advise you to go ahead and use the first 4 initial queues, because if you don't, the only thing you can do is set them to invalid, and it doesn't make much sense to have these things running around invalid in a brand new system. You can go ahead and hijack them and use them for your initial queues. So that's setting up a queue in a brand new system. And we will have more of these beginner or introductory screencasts for OTRS coming up very soon. Keep your eyes on them, and we're excited to bring them to you, and I hope that you've enjoyed them. Thank you. Bye-bye.